Okay, so I go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So slow to fast. Because I want to be able to control as many aspects of my instrument, as many aspects of my playing as possible. I want to control as many things about my playing as possible. Does that make sense? I want to control those things. And the only way to do that, by practice. Practice, practice. In French, the word for practice, oh my goodness. In French, the word for practice is repetition. Répétition. What does repetition mean? It means to repeat. Over and over and over and over and over again until you get it. And then you move on to something else. That's what practice is. You know, I hear, my son is a bass player and a singer and a songwriter. When my son was a young musician, maybe some of you guys' age, he would say, I'm going to go practice. And he would be in there, you know, and he called that practicing. But see, he was just playing stuff that he liked to hear. Like, I'm really cool. But guess what? That's not practice. Practice is when you're doing something that's it's like push-ups. You're doing something that's gonna make you better, make you stronger as a musician. And it's about repetition. It's about doing something with a metronome and a tuner and every other thing you can use to make that really, really good. And then what do? Then you go on to something harder. Or you change something about it to make that harder. Or you go on to, and then you up and up and up and up, right? That's what it is. And it's great because here's the cool thing about music that people don't understand. Even when sometimes the music industry is hard, the cool thing about music is that you know when you have gotten better. You know when you accomplished that thing. It was hard, you could not do it, you worked and worked and worked, and then, ta-da, you could do it. And you're like, yes. That is a feeling that so many people wish they could experience. That's a blessing. That's a really, really cool thing to do something that you enjoy doing. You don't mind working hard at it because you get the prize, and that is that the reward is that you get better at it. You're better. If you don't get the big record contract, or you don't get the big lot of money, a big car, so what? If you can get better at it, that's the thing that really makes you happy. Big cars and a lot of money does not make you happy. I know I should be talking in America. That's not a message for you all, but that's the message for America. They just think, you know, if I could just have more money and a bigger car and a bigger house and whatever. None of that makes you happy. What makes you happy is that I could play it. I couldn't play it last month, but I can play it today. Right? Long tones. The second thing I practice is scales. Scales, 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 and more scales. All the time. I know more scale patterns than I know words. And I could show you some of them, but we just don't have time. A lot of them. Use the metronome, use the metronome, use the metronome, use the metronome. I say that 100,000 times. Use the tuner, use the tuner, use it, use that technology. Get you that iPhone or whatever you got those apps and use them. Okay, scale exercises. All right. The next thing I practice is etudes, like classical studies. I practice like classical etudes and classical pieces, right? Because when you learn literature, repertoire, it doesn't have to be classical. It can be jazz. It can be whatever. But as long as you're continuing to learn what other people have written, that will make your technique grow and get better. All right, that's 3 things. This is going to be a test later, so The fourth thing, our first thing is long tones. Second thing is scales. The third thing is what?
Etudes.
Classical etudes or classical repertoire, classical pieces or jazz pieces or any kind of pieces, Kirk Whalum pieces, whatever. Just learn some people's music, okay? Learn John Coltrane, whatever. The fourth thing that I practice is I practice improvisation. I practice improvising. Improvise, right? Like making it up. But you're making it up based on some rules, right? You're making it up based on things that are set that you learned from generations gone by. Which leads me to, and so what? Real quick, what's number one?
Scale.
Long tones. Number two?
Scales.
Scales. Number three, improvising. I practice improvising, all right? One of the things that you can learn, one way to study improvising is to study the greats. If you have a saxophone player or a trumpet player or a singer that you like, especially from long ago, you know, it's nice to really start with the ones who got this whole thing started and really learn what they did. Learn their music, and then from there you can apply that to your music, right? Maybe transcribe their solos, write out what they did, and learn their solos, right? And then you have one perspective. And then you take another person and learn their solos. You see what I mean? For me, that was Hank Crawford, Ronnie Laws, Wilton Felder of the Jazz Crusaders, Grover Washington Jr., and I had a chance to play with all of the people I just mentioned. I had a chance to play with. Imagine, I started out as 13, 14 going, wow, man, wow. And I want to, I just want to learn anything from them. And then now I can look back and I had a chance to play with those people and even record with some of them. And another one was Arnett Cobb. The ring that I wear was given to me by the daughter of my main mentor. His name was Arnett Cobb. And I loved him and I listened to him. Arnette, Cobb, C-O-B-B. Amazing saxophone player. I love Sonny Stitt and Sonny Rollins and James Moody and Dexter Gordon and on and on and on and on. All right? So there's a lot of them. So now you know a little bit about me. You know where I came from. You know what I practice. You know why I play? Because I want to share the love of God and I want to share the love for my wife. I want to share love. I want to experience love. That's what music is, communicating something important, and we share this experience. That's what it is for me. It makes me so happy when I get to meet you and we just participate, we share God's love. That's amazing. So any questions at all that you have for me? Good? Okay. Thank you.